Ryan Fitzpatrick. You can see him Amazon Prime Video Thursday night analyst. The Raiders take on the Chiefs. That'll be Black Friday, and coverage starts at 3 Eastern only on Prime Videos. We welcome back Ryan Fitzpatrick, former quarterback, Harvard quarterback. Wait, do people mention that? Doesn't seem like they go, oh, Ryan Fitzpatrick, he went to Harvard.
don't know. It's disappointing, although Harvard just lost to Yale. So I
Mm-hmm.
don't really like to talk about Harvard football. Right? We did win the Ivy title, but we lost the most important game.
How long does that stay with you when you lose to Yale?
Oh, okay. I say the Harvard thing. You know what? You get 10 games in the Ivy League, and there's no chance of playoffs or anything like that. So it's a big deal. I wouldn't know. I was 4-0 versus question for me.
Is there Ivy League smack talk that I'm not aware of?
There is, but it's more, the safety school chants are a big one. Uh, yeah, there's a couple bad ones, but they're all pretty lame Ivy League humor.
What was your safe school?
Uh, Interesting question. It probably would have been it wouldn't have been another Ivy League school. It would have been walking on to a place like Stanford or Notre Dame or Northwestern or one of those schools.
Hmm. Okay. All right. How would you sum up the AFC so far?
Ugh. Um, well, we'll have Kansas City this week, and I can't wait to get a closer look. I was very vocal last year in saying, they needed to lose some games, and there's no chance they're going to win the Super Bowl. They lost some games, and of course, they won the Super Bowl because, as we know, Patrick Mahomes in close games is always going to win it. But I love what Buffalo's doing right now. I think the Texans, they have the team to get hot at the right time, but obviously they're really struggling right now. Pittsburgh, we got to see them up close and personal against Cleveland this last week. Um, and they're not going to have the offense to do it this year. I'm still really intrigued by the Ravens. I think this week will tell us a lot when they're playing against the Eagles. And then the Chargers, it's just a very specific way that they have to win football games, which is good for playoff football, but I just don't think they're going to be able to put the pieces together this year on offense.
All right. State of the NFC.
The NFC, I mean, there's some heavyweights, obviously starting with Detroit, and they look pretty unbeatable right now. They've got a great formula. And the teams I like to look at, teams that can run the ball, which they can, but teams that play great defense and can turn the ball over. They can take it away and give it to their offense. And three of the best four in the NFL right now are Detroit, Minnesota, and Green Bay. I think the Eagles, we got a close look at them against the Commanders, and they can win games in a lot of different ways, just like Detroit can. They can score with anybody, they can play great defense. But Green Bay to me is the sleeper team that I absolutely love. I love the way they play, and it's all contingent on Jordan Love. And if he can get hot at the right time, I think they're going to be really tough in the playoffs.
He's Ryan Fitzpatrick, Amazon Prime Video Thursday night analyst, and you can see the Raiders taking on the Chiefs on Black Friday. Their coverage starts at 3 Eastern, only on Prime Video. We hear a lot about organizations, and it's dysfunctional, whether it's the Jets or it could be, fill in the blank here. Did you ever feel like you were part of a dysfunctional organization? And if so, how did you know it was dysfunctional?
Well, I would say that was pretty much my career. Yeah, I don't know if it was me or just the places I just decided to go. But yeah, I think when you have great organizations, then you really start to notice and feel how bad the other ones were. When I was in Tennessee, it wasn't great. Um, when I was with the Jets, it actually wasn't bad, and we've seen the way that's played out these last 2 years. But Houston for me was a good one. Houston, when I got there, saw the way that it was run, the way that they cared for their players. That was one that made me realize maybe some of the ones I'd had in the past weren't great. Coming up, my first two teams were St. Louis and Cincinnati. And so you don't know any better until you get somewhere else. But I also had a really bad stretch. Everywhere I went, the owner died shortly thereafter. It was not a good Georgia Frontier, unfortunately. Then we had Ralph Wilson, then we had Bud Adams, then we had McNair, and it was just a long list. I started looking at myself like it must be me, but thankfully the last few have survived.
Wow. That's some black humor there. That's dark humor there.
Yeah.
Damn. Do you imagine, a coach says, hey, you know what? We could always bring in Ryan Fitzpatrick. And the owner goes, no, 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 no. We can't bring him in. No, no.
Usually that's for different reasons. But yeah.
If you had an MVP vote, who would get it?
I feel like we struggle every week with recency bias because
Yep.
it was definitely Lamar and then it was definitely Josh. And now after watching Saquon, holy smokes. It's just hard to not give it to a quarterback because of how difficult the position is. So right now, my vote is Josh Allen, but he's going to have to beat Detroit. If he doesn't beat Detroit, then he's not going to have a chance at the MVP.
What's it like now? You go through your career trying not to say something. Now you're employed to say something, and now your words have meaning, and now people hear it, players hear it. Tell me about that transition from I don't want to say anything to, upset anybody to I might say something that's going to upset somebody.
Yeah, I think as long as it's rooted in the truth, I've kind of come to terms with it's not a bad thing to speak your mind if it's rooted in the truth. Now, if you've got a personal vendetta and you're going after somebody, which I think Belichick has been awesome to listen to. He has been so refreshing and his knowledge and everything he says, but I feel like sometimes there's a different angle that he's playing with some of the comments that he makes about certain people. I think as long as it's rooted in truth, then it's okay. That I haven't had a problem with it at all. Then there's other situations. I have a very unique perspective. So Daniel Jones, for example, that's something that I live. And I wasn't a franchise quarterback for 6 seasons, but I had those little spurts where I was franchise quarterback. I did get benched. I did have to go into work the next day. So stuff like that becomes easy for me to talk about because of the perspective that I had and some of that experience that I can share with everybody.
Okay, go back to Belichick. What's the angle that he's playing?
Well, I think some of his comments on Mayo were
Heavy-handed?
Little heavy-handed,
Okay.
maybe because of the way it ended there and how their relationship was at the end. But there's some stuff you can read through the lines a little bit.
He says so many things, but he doesn't say them in a loud way. We're so used to broadcasters now. Hot take, and I'm going to say it loudly. There's nothing loud about Belichick, so you kind of miss what he's saying or, because of how he's saying it.
But there's the thing I love about him is there's purpose behind everything that he says. Like you said, it's not for the hot take. It's not for the views. There's a purpose behind every little thing that he says. And most of it rooted in truth, some of it rooted in vengeance. But I have enjoyed, and he's been everywhere, but I've enjoyed listening to him a lot.
Did you ask him what was the game plan when you faced me? When he was facing you? Like, I'd be curious. Tell me what the book was on me from Belichick's eyes.
Yeah, I mean, I think I know the book. I played him 14 times. It was essentially let's make this guy make mistakes. We're going to make him beat us, play tight coverage, take away your best receiver, whether, it was Brandon Marshall when I was there or Devontae Parker. But I had some really bad memories versus them. I mean, playing against New England when they were rolling, and then I've had some good ones too, 3 different places. In the AFC East, I was able to beat them and beat Tom, but yeah, 3-11 record. I don't think he had a good book.
Happy Thanksgiving to you, and we'll be watching on Black Friday. It'll be the Kansas City Chiefs and the Raiders. Thanks for joining us again, Ryan.
All right. Thank you. Looking forward to it.
Ryan Fitzpatrick, Amazon Prime Video Thursday, but they're on Friday afternoon. So Black Friday afternoon, the Raiders and the Chiefs, and the Chiefs are big favorites in that. It starts at 3 Eastern, only on Prime Video.